Okay, folks, here we are. Go ahead and open Reaper. Oh, not that. Okay, so here we are in Reaper. So last tutorial, we saved a template. And so we're going to go ahead and reopen that template. And to do that, we are going to go to Project Templates. I named this one Kate's Default Project Template. I have several for different types of audio and multi-tracking and such. But we're going to open whatever you called your default, or excuse me, whatever you called your template. Open that. Okay, so here we are. And I'm actually going to have to resave this template now that I'm thinking about this, and so will you. But so let's just go into our settings. So we're going to go up here to Reaper, and then we're going to go into settings. Here we go. Backup settings. This is what we want. Okay, so what I would like you to do, this is really, really important, is auto save timestamp file and project directory. We want project directory. So go ahead and click this. And we're going to say save autosave project backup. So autosaves project subdirectory. Okay. And then limit autosaves to about 50. We don't need more than that. And then autosave file when not recording. I'm not sure why it says not recommended. I recommend it, and I'm actually going to recommend it every 5 minutes. And then I'm going to go ahead and click. Make sure all this looks the same. Click apply. Click OK. Cool. Now, go back into settings and come on down here to audio. And then device. So right now it says default system. Now I'm going to show you guys what happens when I plug in an audio interface. Oh, it's going to think about it. So now that I've got an audio device plugged in, this is where I can plug in microphones and that sort of thing. I'm going to look for that device, which is not showing. Let me close this. Go back here to settings. And here it is right here. So this is the external audio device that I have. Some of you, I think, are using Studio One, which leads me to believe you have some sort of PreSonus external device. Some of you might be using a Behringer. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're plugging in any kind of audio interface, you're going to need to come up here and pick it from your audio devices. So in my instance, I would pick this. I'm not working with that today because I want everyone who doesn't have an audio device to see what this looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug it. It's probably going to freak out. I'm going to go back to default system devices. And then I'm going to click apply. Okay. So then the other thing we can do here is we want to set up certain things in our project settings. And just to repeat that, so I come up here to this toolbar. See this little button that has an eye? I'm going to select that. Now, 41K, 4100, whatever, 41,100 hertz, or 44.1 kilohertz is CD quality standard. This is fine. However, I am a huge fan and I promote bumping this up to 48. And this is primarily because if you're working with film, you have to have this project sample rate. It's a little bit higher quality anyway, so unless you're having any sort of weird errors, CPU overload issues, go ahead and change this to 4800 hertz. And then I'm going to come down here. This all looks good. I'm going to click over to media, path to save media files. You know, we already did that when we save as. I do want my audio format to be a WAV. You could change it. I just recently used this one, OGG Vorbis, which is a gaming file format. Well, I don't know that it's specifically for games, but recently I was working on a 2D game, and it required that I use this file. That one was new to me, so I'm going to throw that in there as now a standard. The other two that you're going to see a lot of are this WAV and this AIFF. AIFF is most native to, I believe, Apple. WAV is universal, meaning it is native. It is known to both Apples and PC. So we are going to work with WAV files in this class, period. So make sure you have that selected. All of this stuff looks good. We do want 24-bit. That's right here. Again, you could get it lower to 16-bit. That's like old school CD quality. 8-bit is like old school game consoles. We don't want any of that. We want this. So go ahead and click those. Now I'm going to save as default project settings. That way, every time I start a new session, I don't have to come in here and remember to change anything. It is already done for me. So go ahead and save as project default. Boom. Great. That is pretty much it right now for our preferences. I'm not going to overload you guys. There's some other things I want to go over next class. A little bit about latency, which is a delay that you'll get while you're recording, but none of that is important in this moment. So here we are, right? We've got our project. Oh, look at that. I need to save it. So you can do either Command S or Control S or hotkeys, or you can come up here and say project. I'm gonna click this guy. This is where I want it. Again, make sure you know where you're saving your projects. You can do it on the desktop, your downloads, your documents. Mine is in a subfolder here. And then here, I have got these two ticked. Create subdirectory, copy all media into that subdirectory. We're going to do week 2, demo 2. And I'm going to hit save. Sweet. Okay, so for this first project that we're doing, we're going to keep it pretty simple. I'm going to have you guys come over here, back to your web browser, and type in freesound.org. And I'm going to go ahead and have a link on there for you guys. But we'll just do it again. Now, you will have to create a login for this. It's not a big deal, but then you get to download some free sounds. So go ahead and do that. Sign in, because otherwise you won't be able to download things. Now, I'm not going to be very picky about what I'm picking here. Let's see what we got. Well, I say that, and now I'm going to be picky. Ooh, it's that guy. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so I'm going to download this. Ooh. Download the sound. Good grief. So that's downloaded for sure. And then I'm going to download one more. Why not? What else we got? Ooh. All right, so we want to download. I'm going to download that. That's pretty creepy. Cool. So I've got 2 sounds downloaded now. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go find those sounds that I just downloaded. Go to my downloads and forgot I downloaded that one earlier. So I've got this drum explosion-y thing. And then I've got this creepy ambience. And then I've got, where was it? This weird tape drone thing. Okay. So I just dragged and dropped all of these into Reaper, just like that. And I dragged them all the way to the beginning, because if you can see up here, literally where it has time, this is your timeline. I'm going to hit enter just to click that back. If you didn't see that, my playhead, which is the thing that plays things, it's this guy right here. It keeps following me around. If I hit enter, that's going to jump all the way back to the beginning, which I love and I like. Okay. So let's make sure we can see, or excuse me, hear each one of these sounds. And to hear them individually, I just come over here to this S and I can click that, and it's only going to play the sound found on this track. If I were to undo that, it's going to play everything. Alternatively, you could come in here and mute things, which is great, whatever you prefer. For me, in this instance, I'm just soloing tracks, meaning I'm demoing them. So I can just come in here and do that. Great. So they're all there. Now, first things first, I'm never going to remember or know what any of these things are that are labeled. So to remind myself, oh, that one's solo too. So I'm going to put big drum for that one. And then I'm going to come down here and solo this track. I'm going to put that as creepy ambience. And then let's solo this final one. And that was that tape drone, so I'm going to name it just that. Cool. Please, 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 please label your tracks. Again, this is going to save you so much time and energy, and you're going to know where things are. Likewise, down the road, you are going to have to take screenshots of your work, and I want to be able to see exactly what it is you're working with in your session. And so, again, you are going to get points taken off if you don't label your tracks. And to do that, you simply just double click in here and you start typing. Enter, double click, blah, 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 blah. Don't want that, but just for an example, enter, they're named. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hit Command S, because that is save. It's Control save on a PC, or you can come up here just to be sure and click Save Project. Great. So we have 3 new audio tracks in here. I just want to show you guys that you can move things around, this, that, and the other. And so I can't see this very well right now. And so if I come down here, down at the bottom right corner, and click this plus button, it's going to zoom in rather, so that the audio file isn't so compressed and so that you can see it better. Likewise, if you want it smaller, you can hit this here minus button, but I want them big so I can see where I'm making cuts. And then over here, this is your track height, and so it's going to change how big or small your tracks are. So I'm going to bring that about there. Okay, so I'm not trying to create anything fancy here. But the first thing I'm going to do, and the main track I'm going to be working with, is this top big drum. You will want to do this on all of your tracks, particularly at the beginning. if I go to play back somebody's music or sounds and there isn't a fade, and it's just a sudden loudness in my headphones, that not only is annoying, it can damage people's ears. So what we're going to do is create fades. So we can do a fade in. So if I hover up here, you'll notice this little icon pops up here. Now I'm going to click and I'm going to drag to the right. And now you can see that fade there. Now that's a pretty long fade. And we can make that much smaller so that it comes in louder. Hopefully that doesn't totally kill somebody's ears. I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to zoom back in here. Likewise, I always want one at the end. Now these can be baby, right? So let's say I'm not trying to create any sort of true fade in or fade out. I'm not trying to protect ears or whatever. You still always want to have fade ins and fade outs at the end of each one of your tracks. If you were going to export this out, one of the problems with digital is it creates digital clipping or popping. This ensures by having fade ins and fade outs that you do not run into that issue. It can totally just destroy a track. It can get very confusing. It's just really good practice, and that is going to be part of your grades moving forward. I do not want to put on headphones and have my ears blown off. So you will definitely lose points from that. And if it continues, then you won't get points at all. So just right out of the get-go, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put fades on all of my tracks. Zoom out, put one here, and put one here. Now, I'm not trimming anything, so typically, because there's a empty spot here or at the end of the track, you can see there's like no sound. I would come in and I would trim this and then I'd stick my fade in. I'm not going to get all fancy with that quite yet because I just want you guys to see the fade. But you can see the difference in the fade thingy icon and the trim, which means I'm literally cutting the track, shortening or lengthening it. So for now, we're going to leave that as that. So I want this big drum to be at the beginning of my track. So it's going to be the first one that plays. So for the second one, I don't want it to start right away. So I can literally click on it and I can drag it. I'm going to have it come in right about here. Let's see what that sounds like. Actually, I'm going to move it a little bit forward since I faded it in. So I'm going to solo these two. See what that sounds like. All right, well, that is not what I wanted. So there's a big empty spot there. Well, guess what? That's a great spot for this to come in. So I'm going to make my fade a little less. Let's try it again. Okay, so that wasn't so bad, only I want to come in a little bit sooner and softer. So let's try that. Cool. That's pretty cool. Cool. So likewise, for this guy down here, so I've got, this is my intro, this is coming in after, and then I'm going to have this one just come in slightly after that big hit, but not hidden by this part here. So let's see what, I'm just gonna click up here so I don't have to listen to the whole thing. Okay, great. That is all that I basically want from you guys, is to find 3 different sounds, bring them into your session, create fades on all of the tracks, in and out, move them, position them in some way, and then I'm going to have you command save, control save, or come up here, save, make sure it's saved if I haven't said that enough. And I'm going to have you do a timeline export, rendering, bounce, if you will, that is only 30 seconds long. So this means that I am coming up here on this timeline. I'm going to start at 0. I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag all the way up here to 30 seconds. Yep. So I'm at 30 seconds. You can see that it's grayed out here. Now, if I wanted to loop this and play it back and see what the time is, I can come down here at the very bottom left, and I can click this, and let's see if that loops after 30 seconds. Okay, did you see that? It jumped all the way back to the start because I had this loop enabled here. This is great for previewing, to double check that it is at 30 seconds. And it is, and so that's what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and unclick the loop button. Shouldn't matter, but just to be safe. So to export this, to render it, as Reaper calls it, we're going to go up here to File, and then we're going to come down here to Render. Okay, this is really, really important. Please pay attention. Master mix is the source. Bounds. We are not doing the entire project. We want to do a time selection project. See that? Not entire project, time selection project. So freaking important. That's part of your grade. And you're going to have to do this almost every time. At least check that it's a timeline selection. This is going to be the way that we render all of our work. There is always going to be a time limit on it. We're going to say we want this file to be a minute long, or this one to be 2 minutes. It doesn't matter. This is what you're going to be using when exporting, rendering your files. So make sure that that is selected. I don't want to end up with somebody's track that is accidentally 1 second long or 3 hours long. So down here, it's asking me, where do I want to save this? So I'm going to browse directory. I want to save it exactly where I'm saving my actual project. All right, so I've got the location where I want to save it, 48 hertz, stereo, full speed offline, 48 hertz stereo, full speed offline. And we're coming down here to primary output format, WAV file. This must be WAV, 24-bit that we want. So make sure, take a screenshot of this if you need to, that all of these things, time selection, 48 hertz, stereo, full speed offline, it is WAV format, 24-bit render file. Okay, so then I'm going to go down here and just open the folder to where it is saved. And it is saved right here. So let's play it. Cool. It's all there. 30 seconds. Okay, what am I going to upload to my Canvas page for Kate so that she can actually hear the audio? It is going to be this file, this weekdemo2.wav, W-A-V. I don't want this RPP BAK or this RPP. These are your session files. And even though I own Reaper, I do not own your files. And so if you upload your personal session files, it's not going to upload the audio files because they're stored on your computer. Now, this is a common mistake, and it does happen, but please pay attention to what you're uploading. I want to be able to hear it. Other people want to be able to hear it. And everybody can hear a wave. So pick the wave file that you're going to upload. And this is your homework for this week. Hopefully this made sense. If you have any questions about this process, please let me know and reach out. I can certainly explain things a different way, go over things slowly, whatever it is that you need to get going. So I will be sure to include the free sounds web link so you can go and register, create an account, download at least 3 audio files of your choosing, drag those into Reaper, label them all, relabel them to something that you and I can both recognize, create fades in and out, move the audio around in whichever way that you like, but they can't all be at the very beginning. Move them around, and then use your time selection, starting at 0 at the very top, dragging all the way across to 30 seconds, and then going to File, Render, checking that all your preferences are right. All right, you guys, this is our first Reaper project. If you're using another DAW, I want you to do the same thing for me. Fades, move the audio around, and export it at exactly 30 seconds. Add a WAV file. 48 hertz, sample rate is 48, and then 24-bit PCM. I look forward to hearing them. Thanks.